2021 alone, according to GAO analysis produced at our request, the department failed to identify nearly 1,000 deaths. And my assessment is the true number is likely much higher. Of those recorded, 70% of the records were incomplete, and 40% of records failed to capture the circumstances of death. The Department of Justice has failed to collect complete or accurate state and local death data for the past 2 years. Americans are needlessly dying and are being killed while in the custody of their own government.
Total and utter failure, as you saw Senator Jon Ossoff of Georgia make that point. A new bipartisan Senate report is highlighting the failure of the Justice Department to report nearly 1,000 people who died in prisons and jails in 2021. Now, the American penal system, as you know, holds nearly 2 million people. That's one-fifth of the world's prison population. And people of color are disproportionately behind bars, and this report suggests they may be in mortal danger. Joining me now is Lauren Brooke Eisen. She's a senior counsel at the Brennan Center for Justice, and Boris Franklin. He's a lead organizer at New Jersey Together. He was also formerly incarcerated. I want to start with you, Lauren. This is utterly ridiculous, hearing this report, and I often feel like people who are imprisoned are just the forgotten people in this country, but these are human beings who deserve some level of decency and humanity, regardless of crimes, if we are to uphold the country who we believe ourselves to be, or who some believe America to be. Whose job is it exactly to keep track of prisoners, not just death, but their well-being, and make sure they're not being starved to death or beaten brutally or murdered, as we've seen?
No, you're absolutely right. Senator Ossoff highlights a real issue here. We do a terrible job collecting data about the deaths of people who are in custody in the United States. And it's important to collect this complete and accurate data to improve ways to reduce deaths in custody in the future, whether these people are in police custody, behind bars, in prisons and jails, or in juvenile detention facilities. But what's really important about this investigation, and you just said this yourself, is that the conditions in our jails and prisons are leading to countless deaths every year that are preventable. We've got to focus on why this is happening. With 1.2 million people in our state and federal prisons, more than 10 million admissions into and out of our county jails every year, with conditions of confinement that are simply inhumane, we've got to do a better job of figuring out why this is happening every day in the United States. And, you know, with the Death in Custody Reporting Act, it's been very difficult for the Justice Department to collect this information. And partly that's because we have over 3,000 counties in the United States, and those counties are simply not reporting up to their state agencies. So we've got to do a better job of figuring out why this is happening, who's dying in custody in the United States, and of course, improving conditions of confinement in our jails and our prisons.
Yeah, I mean, because there's something about when you strip a person's humanity away, it's hard to survive, Boris. The statistics of deaths behind bars are staggering. More than half of all prison deaths occur within a month of admission, and half of all those who died by suicide between 2000 and 2018 had been in jail for 9 days or less. As someone, you were incorrectly incarcerated for a number of years. Now you work with New Jersey Together to bring about criminal reform. Tell us, if you can, as much as you can, what it's like on the inside and why you think these deaths are occurring.
Well, first, I'd like to clear that I was incarcerated, not necessarily wrongly, but absolutely over-injured. And a good reason why these deaths are occurring is sort of a pressurized environment. Right? Take a bunch, put them inside of a pressurized environment. And in that space, the officers, or the facility's job is to protect the officers, not the inmates. So you could walk into a mess hall and it looks like a steel cage. They'll put you in this sort of a situation. They'll lock the cage. When guys are in there fighting, there was actually a murder inside of the prison mess hall. And the guards would sit up inside the bird cage and they would simply ask them to stop. They would not come in and they would not. And there are numerous places like this inside of the jail. And these are the places most would actually occur. And as far as the suicide, like there were guys who had themselves, but the officer would come, he would do his count, and he might not be back out. And then you might be lucky if the officer might not even do his count. He might just come in and he might simply sit down, write in his book, and never get up. You know, he might look at the count for the last. But there's a lot of crack where falling through a lot of spots where individuals can't be seen. And in those spaces, murders, suicide, and let's not forget drug overdose.